In the New York City real estate market, one of the biggest questions that buyers always ask is, should I rent or should I buy? Well, today I'm putting the numbers side by side. A $6,995 rental versus an $895,000 purchase. And stick with me till the end of this video and you'll have a better idea of which option could be the smart move for you. But first, I'm Dewey. I'm your New York City real estate resource. Please take a moment to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And let's get started. It's always a struggle in New York City to understand whether or not you should be renting or you should be buying, and which may or may not be the better value for you. And of course, some of that is highly personal. Some people would prefer to rent. They don't want the responsibility of owning. I've heard people say that they enjoy the freedom that renting allows them because they can move from place to place and they enjoy that. They don't want to be tied down to one place the way you are when you're buying. So it's certainly a personal choice. But for many people, it's a very big financial choice, especially in today's market. So the first thing that you need to understand about renting versus buying in New York City is that the FAIR Act just went into law about a month ago, and that has changed the rental market almost overnight in New York City. And we did see prices go up on average about 15% on the rents almost overnight. We've never had, short maybe of the pandemic, we've never had that drastic of a change in the rental market. So for the moment, it's very much affecting the renter versus buyer mentality, and which may be a better option for you. So let's look at the numbers side by side and really see in a real world example from the market right now, which may be the better value for you, renting or buying in New York City. So we're going to look at a rather popular area in New York City. Both apartments are located in Chelsea and they're located in prime areas of Chelsea. Let's take the rental first. This is a 1-bedroom with 1 bath, and it has about 635 square feet to it. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with New York real estate, that may seem extremely small. But on the whole, it's about average for a 1-bedroom in that area. Somewhere between 650 and 700 square feet is what you're usually looking at for a 1-bedroom. And it's located in a full-service building. That means that it is an amenities-rich building. It has a 24-hour doorman, a gym, a roof deck, a common area, and some other amenities that are offered to its renters. And as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, this is renting for $6,995 a month. Now let's compare that to a 1-bedroom about the same size that's also located in the same area of Chelsea. And it's also located in an amenities-rich building, 24-hour doorman, gym, and a roof deck. And it also has an outdoor space, a small outdoor garden. The difference here is that it's 1.5 bath and it is located on a duplex. So there are 2 levels to the apartment. This is listed for $895,000. Now, one of the things about buying in New York City is that you always have common charges in addition to your mortgage payments. So in this example, this is a co-op building. So you have 1 monthly common charge payment, which is called the maintenance payment. And that's $1,732 per month. Now we're going to assume that you're financing, and you must put 20% down because that's what the building requires in order for you to be able to buy into the co-op. And we're going to assume an interest rate of 6.5%, which is around the daily interest rates for this week. That's going to give you a mortgage payment of $4,526 per month. Now, adding the monthly maintenance payment and the monthly mortgage payment together, that gives you $6,258. Now, you do have expenses, of course, with both properties. You have your utilities, you have your apartment insurance, you have your renter's insurance if you're renting. Oftentimes in a rental building, in order to use those amenities, you're going to have an extra charge. So that could be anywhere from $100 to $150 a month added on top of your rent. Whereas if you are buying a property, you would not have any of those charges to use the amenities because those charges are wrapped into your monthly maintenance payment to support all of those amenities. But we're going to leave all of that out of the equation right now because those are variables and you get to choose what some of that is going to cost you per month. So on the rental side, we have $6,995 a month. And on the purchase side, we're looking at $6,258 a month. Now between the two, that totals out to be an $8,844 savings per year if you purchase. Now, there are a lot of of pros to purchasing. As I mentioned, some people have a lot of pros for renting. They don't want to be tied down. They want the freedom of renting. They may not be staying in New York City very long, and they don't want the responsibility of having a property that they own. But for the most part, buying is going to be a better choice in this circumstance at these price points because you're going to be building equity. You're going to be securing something for your future. We don't usually have circumstances to where apartments go down in value drastically in New York City. There are always ups and downs in a market, but on the whole, looking at a 20 or 30-year plot chart, you will always see apartments appreciating in New York City. So you're really building equity and investing in your future by buying. And of course, unlike having the freedom to move around or leave when you want to, you're creating stability in New York City. I have to tell you that when I first bought my co-op, I had rented for many, many years, and it took a real weight off my shoulders because I was able to create a stable home. I knew where I was going to be. I wasn't worried about rents increasing and being priced out of a unit. I could actually stay in one place. And for me, that was a great decision and greatly enhanced my lifestyle in New York City. Now, of course, there are some cons to renting and some cons to buying. Cons about renting, obviously, I just mentioned it, you're going to have rental increases. And for some people, each year as that rent increases, it's going to price you out of a market. So you find people moving and moving frequently or having to take on roommates or take different size of apartments. And usually that's a smaller apartment. So that's definitely a con for most people. And it causes a great deal of anxiety around the time that you are knowing that your rent is going to increase. Now, on the buy side, your maintenance can increase. You can have assessments for special projects or things that need to be repaired on the building come up and add into your maintenance charges. So it's not like there aren't increases when you are buying as well. However, your mortgage is going to stay consistent unless you refinance. And if you're refinancing, you may be taking some money out. Maybe you'll have a higher mortgage, but on the whole, usually your mortgage payment is going to stay the same, or if you refinance, it's going to go lower. What can increase are those maintenance payments. But the thing to understand about maintenance payments, particularly in co-ops, is that a portion of those maintenance payments are tax deductible because a portion of that payment is going for the underlying mortgage of the building and the building's underlying property taxes, all of which are tax deductible. So at the end of the year, from the building's accountant, you'll receive a tax form telling you how much of your maintenance is deductible for that year. Obviously, for renting, there's nothing that is tax deductible there. Now, everyone knows that it's very expensive to rent in New York City. You not only have the high rents, but you also have the high cost. You have move-in fees, you have application fees, you have some other fees. Now, the processes around those finances for renting have gotten a little bit better over the years and a little bit easier in New York City because there were some new laws passed. For example, landlords can no longer charge extraordinary prices for application fees. They can only charge you $20 to $25 for a credit check. Now, do they find other ways to charge fees, administration fees? Yes, but they have to be very, very careful. Whereas before it could have cost you thousands of dollars in application fees, it now will cost you maybe $25 to $100 for application fees. So that is something different and something much better for those who are renting. On the buying side, there are some barriers to entry, and this is one of the big things that one must consider when they're buying versus renting and if they're prepared to buy. For example, we talked about the down payment earlier on our buying example being 20%. In New York City, buildings set the down payment, not your bank. So a co-op can require 20% down, 25% down. I've even seen buildings require up to 40 or 45% down to be able to buy into that particular building. They also have different requirements like a low debt to income ratio. So you may have to work your finances to meet that percentage that a certain building wants to see. They also have what we call post-close liquidity, meaning they want to see a certain amount of mortgage plus maintenance payments combined sitting in the bank at the time of closing, and that's usually 2 years worth of those payments. So what we're saying here is that there are barriers to entry on the purchasing side that you won't experience so much on the renting side. That requires some careful planning and some strategy around your own finances so that you'll be able to qualify to buy into these buildings. The co-op boards get to make the rules, and they don't change them for new shareholders that are coming into the corporation. So you must be prepared. You need to work with someone who's very experienced and helps you understand where your criteria falls and helps you find the right kind of purchase. So what do you think? Which is better for you? Both are big decisions when you're moving to or moving within New York City, but I hope this video has helped you understand some of the ins and outs, and by doing a real world comparison, help you see what kind of savings you could experience if you purchase versus buying. Again, I'm Dewey Moss. I'm your New York City real estate resource. Please take a moment to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so that you can stay up to date on all things New York City real estate. Take a look at the description box below for all sorts of ways to get in touch with me. I would love to help you find your dream home in New York City. I'll see you next time.